this is Cold Turkey 49 throwing down with Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Game came out a week or two ago, so I am having fun playing it. You know, it's a really fun game, and I wanted to just throw down a few commentaries on it. We'll see if I keep doing commentaries on it because the Star Wars MMO is going to be out pretty soon. I do have plans to play that as well. So we're being dragged and the Imperial Army to the city or town of Helgen. Other prisoners are with me. Blah blah blah. Let's keep pace with that. So people probably want to know, what do I think of the game? Well, I think it's a pretty good game. There are obvious bugs and glitches that are a bit annoying, and if you've played the game for any length of time, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's texture bugs. Some people have been experiencing crash to desktop bugs. Giants will throw you 100,000 feet in the air. You can put buckets over people's heads and steal everything because they never see you. I'm going to be playing an orc. What's my name? Cold Turkey 49? No, that's lame. I don't want that. Let me see. How about, let me think. I think I got it. Looking up. Yes. Lokag. Blood Fist. So that'll be my character for this game. And I'll throw in a bit of role-playing here and there. I am Lokag Bloodfist, orc of the Lagashbur tribe. Strength is the only thing that an orc needs. So, that's Lokag. He'll be joining me in these commentaries. Or maybe not. I don't know. I've never had a co-commentator before. Lokag, what do you think about co-commentating? I think co-commentating with Cold Turkey 49 is a good idea. Lokag agree. Excellent, Lokag. Thanks for the tip. So there you go, guys. Let me know if you want Lokag here co-commentating with me, or do you just want Cold Turkey 49? That'll be a fun little poll that everybody can take. So I'm going down on the Executioner's block, or I'm not. Lokag. Lokag, you're on the block. Lokag getting saved by dragon. Woo, pretty. Look at it go. It lands. The Executioner's like, oh, snap. Didn't see that coming. And then, boom. Whoa, a dragon. So back to kind of what I think of the game. The graphics are fairly decent, and the gameplay is pretty solid. Music's good. There's a lot of quests. There's a big world to explore. There's different NPCs to talk to, places to go to. It's kind of like Fallout New Vegas. It's sort of an open world, but instead of post-apocalyptic disaster future thing, look at all the destruction that dragon's causing. Oh boy, get into the tower, get into the tower. Follow Roloff, or Roloff, whatever his name is. But instead of Fallout New Vegas with the post-apocalyptic, obviously Skyrim is more of a fantasy setting. And we're in Skyrim, which is sort of like Norse, frosty, cold, mountains, dragons, big hairy men with beards and axes. So, you know, it's not like it's something you haven't seen before in a fantasy setting. It's by no means original, I guess, if you want to mince words about that. I'm going to be running through here, huff, puff, huff, puff. The Dragonland charge, dun 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 dun, hitting the sprint key, roar, and I go right past him. That dragon didn't even attack Lokag. Lokag, why did you do that? Well, I think the dragon's basically a big sissy, Cold Turkey. So I ran up to him and I was like, take it, and then he ran away, and so that's all I got about that. Alright, thanks Lokag, appreciate the tips. So Lokag explained why he was doing that, and now he's going to be running into this little sanctuary right here while the dragon does horrible, evil things to the townsfolk. Oh yeah. And we're going to be following, at this point you have a choice on who to follow. When you get towards this area, you're going to have Roloff talking to the guard dude, I forget his name, I only remember Roloff's name. I'm going to side with Roloff because, oh, his name was Hardvar, Hadaver, or whatever. I'm going to side with Roloff because I feel from a role-playing standpoint it makes more sense for an orc like Lokag to side with the storm cloaks or whatever they are. Also, from a non-role-playing standpoint, it's kind of metagaming or power gaming. If you go against the Imperial at this point, you get way better gear off the Imperials. I hit my Orc Rage, Berserker Rage button, which makes me do more damage and good stuff like that. I don't quite remember exactly what Berserker Rage does. I'll have to look it up. Stamina low. Oh no! Stuff like that. One thing I need to say, and I should have said this right at the beginning of the commentary, is by no means is this a 100% complete commentary. I'm going to be missing a ton of stuff. I'm not going to do every quest. I'm not going to get every weapon. I'm not going to get every piece of armor. I'm not going to talk to every NPC. I'm not going to explore every location. This is not a 100% complete playthrough sort of a thing. This isn't me telling you how to play the game, showing you how to play the game. This is just me playing the game, having fun, throwing a little Lokag around. Lokag, what do you think about having fun? Lokag like to play games to have fun. All the internet trolls are stupid. Haters gonna hate, Turkey. You're right, Lokag. Haters are gonna hate. Good point. So Lokag has words of wisdom for me there, and it's true. So this isn't going to be anything like that. It's just me having fun throwing down with Skyrim, and hopefully you guys can have fun watching and listen to me blab on and on and on about various things. So I'm going through this part, and we're going to try to escape. Need to get some potions, loot some corpses, kill people. After all, Lokag is a vicious, bloodthirsty orc. Slay the enemy. Okay, Lokag, simmer down now. You've been in commentary. Getting back to what we need to talk about. What do I think about the game overall? Well, I think the game is pretty good overall. Obviously, with the bugs that I've been talking about and the issues the game's been having, it's far from perfect. However, I'm sure that there's going to be official patches released to try to solve a lot of the issues. And you know what? I haven't played the perfect game yet. So it makes a lot of sense. It's a good game, but it's not the perfect game. If you would be interested or not in maybe playing Skyrim, I think you gotta basically watch what I do and listen to what I'd said, how it's kind of like Fallout New Vegas. If you've never played that either, then it's a bit tough. The game is kind of sandboxy-ish. You can go where you want to go, do what you want to do, to a certain point. Obviously, it's not completely free, but at the same time, it does give you a lot of wiggle room to do what you want to do. You know, do you want to be a caster, maybe play an elf instead of an orc and wield powerful magics? Or maybe you like playing an orc or a barbarian, kind of like what I'm doing. So you get your big two-handed axe and your iron armor and you go out squishing people's skulls. Do you want to be a talkative guy? Maybe you want to make your own armor, up your smithing. So there's definitely a lot of variance you can do just within your skills. But also, who do you want to side with? What do you want to do with your character? Lokag wants to slay his enemy because strength is what matters. Okay, Lokag, I heard you the first time. So we know what Lokag wants to do. That ultimately, that is the strength of Skyrim as a game. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Who knows? Take it, bear. This bear's all like thinking he's cool. Lokag just totally destroyed him. I slay the bear! Good job. Alright, so the bear's dead. And this is getting really towards the end of this whole segment where we're trying to escape the dragon. Just need to do a loop around here, and we should be out of these caves. Yeehaw! Good to go. But the game is pretty solid, and that pretty much wraps up my opinion. Perfect game? No. Good game? Yes. Would you like it? Probably. I can't think of too many people that would hate Skyrim as a game, but they probably are out there, and they're writing nasty comments to me right at this moment. Cold Turkey 49, you suck. I hate your channel because it's not League of Legends anymore. You suck. Stupid. Yeah. Lokag, what do you think about haters like that? Haters can suck, Lokags. Oh, whoa. Okay, Lokag. Why don't you just calm down there, buddy? So we get to the Guardian Stones. We're following our good friend Roloff all the way to the town of Riverwood, because remember we were in Helgen and it got smashed up. So we're going to activate the Warrior Stone, which increases things by 20% experience, blah, 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 stuff like that. Another thing you want to do while you're going down this path is you always want to pick as many herbs as you can. Flowers, butterfly wings, mushrooms, things like that that can later be used for alchemy. So alchemy is pretty important if you want to be making potions. Just all around a good thing to consider doing. Another interesting trick, and I didn't know this when I first started playing the game, is that in order to figure out what a particular ingredient does when you mix it in your alchemy, is to just eat it. So if you've got like 10 blueberry flower petals and you don't know what they do, just eat one and it'll tell you what the effect is. That's a lot better than just randomly throwing everything together on the alchemy table, because then you're going to be wasting ingredients when you have potions that don't mix. I didn't know that until, of course, after I played the game and I found out the hard way. So when I first do alchemy with Lokag here, things are going to get pretty ugly, and I am probably going to waste a ton of ingredients. But you learn as you play. Getting these wolves down. Slay the wolf. Dead, doggy. So they're dead. Also, you can loot them for pelts. Pelts are pretty nice. Bear pelts, wolf pelts, things like that. Try to get as many of those as possible, because from then you can get leather. Break those down into leather strips. And then when you combine that with mining to get iron, steel ingots, stuff like that, you can increase your smithing pretty rapidly. So we finally get to the town. Now I'm going to wander around, do some things here. Basically, I want to follow my friend Roloff. Or am I mispronouncing his name? I think I am. I think it's R-A-L-O-F. So that'd be Roloff. Well, anyway, I'm going to call him Roloff and let all the grammar Nazis rage at me. He's not Roloff. That's not how you pronounce it, Turkey. Grammar Nazis. Lokag, no like. Yeah, well, we all know that. So don't worry too much about it. Anyway, so we're talking to his sister, I think is what she is. And she's going to hook us up with a place to stay. This is a nice town, Riverwood. Definitely some quests you can do when you get in here. The big, huge quest that you want to pay attention to, we'll get in a second, is the Golden Eagle Claw or something like that. So I'm walking along, enjoying the scenery. That's one thing to notice about the game. Like I said, when it comes to graphics, I don't think it's the best graphics I've ever seen in the world. But when you run it on ultra-high settings like I am, and then on top of that you install certain mods, graphical mods, that you can get from the Skyrim Nexus, the game really starts to look a lot better. I think it's a beautiful game to play, especially when the camera zooms out into the distance and you see the forest and the streams and the salmon jumping up the streams. fallen logs, splintered trees, snow gently coming down. It's pretty good. There are problems with the not NPCs. There are problems with character models, blocky faces, textures that don't work right. The shadows kind of look weird on the nose and chin sometimes. These are all things that you can get mods to fix. Like I said, go to Skyrim Nexus. There's a ton of good mods out there. Right now, I think I'm running 6, maybe 7 mods. And they're all mods for graphical updates or slight bug fixes or things like that. Because the game has only been out for a short amount of time, a lot of the heavy hitting mods really aren't in right now. Some of the bigger mods, adding new quests, new NPCs, stuff like that, those will probably take a while to get going, and that's okay. I'll settle for graphical fixes and small bug fixes for now. And also, you have to remember that the game is probably going to be officially patched pretty soon as well, maybe to deal with some of the stuff. Some people aren't experiencing all the bugs. Like some guys I talk to that say, well, they've never had the crash bug, but they've had the texture bug and they've had the giants sending them to the moon bug. And then some people I talk to, they have the crash bug even worse than, say, like me. So it's kind of weird. There's definitely some variables going on. Some people have the game a little more buggy than others. But ultimately, I'd say stick with it. Even if the bugs make the game unplayable, wait till the first official patch. Maybe you'll find some good stuff. So when we're talking to this Lucan Varius or whatever, and I probably butchered that name pronunciation pretty hard. Basically, he had his golden eagle claw stolen from him, so we are going to get the golden, well, okay, it's just called the golden claw. I don't know why I'm calling it the golden eagle claw. So we're going to get the golden claw back. And this is going to be a really awesome quest, because this quest is going to send us to our first location where we get a really good shout, kind of our first shout. Well, you could get another shout first. You don't have to get this one first. But it just sets up the game as a nice flow, because you get the golden claw, you get to kill some stuff, you get some fat loot, you get your shout, and then you get the dragonstone, which you're going to need later on. And it's just a good intro as kind of a first really epic quest. But before we go on that quest to do the golden claw, I'm taking care of a few things in town. You notice earlier when I was yakking about some random subject, I was talking to the smith, going through and selling all my weapons and armor. Also, you want to train up your smithing while you're here. And then in this particular scene, I'm talking to Sven, the bard. He has a girl he's kind of sweet on, but there's an elf that's sweet on her too. So I'm going to go over there, do a little trickery here and there, and get her sweet back on Sven. And so he can actually be one of the first companions you get. Now, most people will say that if you're power gaming or just crunching the numbers, you don't want Sven. You actually want the elf as your companion instead. And that's fine. From a role-playing standpoint, I think Lokag would go with Sven, because he probably doesn't like elves, because he's an orc. Lokag, what do you think about that? Lokag no like. Okay, Lokag doesn't like elves. So we know that that's true. So, go with what you want, but do this Sven elf quest right here with the girl, and then you can get a companion out or whatever. Do whatever you want. And then there's a few other quests, like I said, you take care of around town. All in all, it's a good deal. Another thing that happened when I was coming into town, you remember you go to your mini-map, I had gotten close to the mine, the Ember Shard Mines or whatever. This is another thing you probably want to do early on in the game. Just go up to this mine and clear it out, and you can get some fatty loots, you can kill some people, just basic stuff like that. It also makes good footage for me to be yakking up what's going on in the game. One of the nice things about the game is you can really customize how you want to fight. So if you want to dual wield, like a sword in each hand or an axe in one hand, a sword in one hand, you can fight that way. Personally, when I start the game, I like to go dual wield or healing sword. So healing in my offhand, sword in my main hand. It's good for the beginning, but Lokag is going to definitely be a two-handed kind of guy with big, huge hammers and stuff like that. Lokag, you like big, huge? Lokag loves big, huge hammers. Smash! Okay. So Lokag knows what he likes. So you can definitely switch it up, and you don't have to play the whole game with one style. Or maybe you want to be a mage and you want to use destruction magic with lightning and fire and ice and stuff like that. Then you can wield magic in both hands to make the effects better. And then while all this is going on, remember, one of the interesting things about this game is you don't level necessarily by completing quests. That's one of the big differences between this and Fallout New Vegas, is in Fallout New Vegas, if you do a quest, you actually get experience for completing that quest. Whereas that's not the case in Skyrim. In Skyrim, you get experience by using your skills and those skills increasing. See right there, my level progress went up because one of my skills increased. So you can actually do quests and not get any experience from them. And that's something you have to take into account. Don't do quests just for the sake of finishing the quest. You're almost better off just going out, hacking up a bunch of enemies, doing some spells, talking to some people, smithing some weapons. Those will get you leveled up faster. Now, that's not to say you want to avoid quests. Just remember that it's not necessarily the act of questing that gets you experience and levels, but more so the use and improvement of your skills over time that increases your level. And that's a lot different than somebody who's maybe not used to that kind of a system. If you saw it for the first time, you might be a little confused and wonder, how is this going on? Well, I just explained it, so now you know. So remember that when you're playing Skyrim. Not necessarily about the quest, but at the end of the day, it's a game, right? So you're going to want to have fun because that's the whole point of playing games. Hopefully. If not, you might want to check yourself because there could be some issues. So we're getting pretty close towards the end of the mine. And as we're getting close to the end of the mine, we're getting close to the end of the commentary. And like I said, this is my first commentary on Skyrim. And I'm probably going to do a few more, but I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen in the future because I do have a lot of plans to play the MMO that's coming out, the Star Wars MMO. So it'll be tough to do commentaries on both games at the same time. Locag, what do you think I should do? What do you think should go on? I think Cold Turkey should keep playing Skyrim. Star Wars, stupid. Okay, alright, Locag. And that's another thing, definitely you guys can vote on. What do you think of Locag as being a co-commentator? Do you think it's awesome to have him on board? Or should Locag simply stick in the game? Because when I was contacted by Locag after he had done all of his stuff in Skyrim, I was surprised, first of all, that he had access to a cell phone, because they don't exist in that world. But secondly, that he was a fan of the channel, and he wanted to hang out and co-commentate. So let me know in the comments below, say, I want to keep Locag as a co-commentator, or I hate Locag as a co-commentator. Get him out. So we're done with the mine. The next quest we're going to do is we're going to go for that golden claw, which I am heading to right now. But I think that pretty much wraps up everything I wanted to say initially about Skyrim. Awesome game. Give it a shot. This is Cold Turkey. Thanks for watching.